Now this setup right here is a setup that a lot of you golfers out there will think is perfectly fine, but this is actually a reason why a lot of golfers struggle to rotate in the backswing and downswing and struggle with early extension as well in there. So I'm going to tell you in this video exactly how to set up to one, rotate better in the downswing, and two, to have an early extension free downswing also. So I'm Jonathan Chown with JChownGolf. Let's dive right into it. So just like we said in the intro there, if you want to have a nice rotational golf swing in the backswing and freely rotate in the downswing, and you don't want to early extend either, that setup is not the setup for you. So let's dive into it and explain why it's not that great for you. So if we're setting up and we're having that pelvis real behind us, so it's pretty much behind my body, and now that's going to force me to have a lot of hip hinge. So when I have a lot of hip hinge, that's going to again now force me to have a very straight back, and now my armpits are also going to be in front of my toes here. So a lot of you are thinking here, you'll think, now that is a perfectly fine setup, that looks athletic, it looks like what my instructor has told me, it looks like what the commentators have been saying is a good setup too. But again, that is an area that was changed again around 20-30 years ago, maybe not quite 30 years ago, but definitely 20 years ago. And that was because when golf was going through its aesthetical area, where everything had to look absolutely perfect, absolutely ideal, had to look athletic. So, but as we know, when we've made a change in the golf swing just purely for looks and aesthetics, that's not gonna really function too nicely for us. So if I get into this aesthetically pleasing setup, now I'm really going to struggle to turn in my backswing. So that's my first area I'm really going to struggle quite hard with, because when I'm too bent over, could be anything, I now can't really rotate my body back and through. I can't rotate at all. If I'm really bent over here, well, I've got my pelvis behind my body, really straight back, I can't turn and get a full turn at all. What's most likely going to happen if I try to do this? My head is going to go forward, I'm going to come out of my posture, and then from there my body's going to try to regain its balance, because you can see, of course, if I'm trying to get a good full turn, really bent over, my weight's going to be going out to the toes. So what's going to happen from there? My pelvis is going to shoot on underneath me, I'm going to early extend through the golf ball there. So how having this really straight back pelvis behind you will, one, cause you not to turn in the backswing, and two, will cause you to early extend going through there. So as you can see, not too many redeeming qualities in that type of setup. So what is a way for us to set up that more encourages us to rotate and encourages us to be in a good posture in the downswing is actually looking like you're in bad posture. So if you imagine someone like Jack Nicklaus, for example, setting up to the golf ball, or golfers from that area, you can think of a Sam Snead, for example, how they would be set up to the golf ball with pretty straight legs, slight kind of bend to them. Their pelvis will be very tucked underneath their body. They'll have a pretty straight lower back, but as soon as they get to around mid back, going up to upper back, it really curves over. They look like this, setting up to a golf ball here, which looks like bad posture, doesn't it? But we've got to know with golf swing, it's a little bit different to other athletic sports in what we're doing in our movement. Most athletic sports, you know, you're moving in a linear fashion, more you're preparing for a movement to happen. With golf swing, the ball's on the ground, we are rotating through to hit that golf ball. It's a rotational sport. So like we said, being bent over, that's not going to achieve the rotational nature of a golf swing. So if I'm more in this type of poor posture, you can say pelvis underneath me, straighter lower back, but curving going up, now I'm going to be able to turn a lot better in my golf swing, because you can see now I can turn, and my head now isn't going to go forward because I'm not losing my balance. And now I am going to now move a little bit more dynamically in the downswing. My pelvis can now move backwards because, again, I'm not fighting to maintain my balance. Just got to remember, my pelvis is too much, you know, behind me, a lot of lower back kind of curvature, maybe, you know, a very straight back as well. That's going to cause my armpits to be in front of my toe area there. That's going to cause me to lose my balance coming up into my swing there. You can almost view the golf swing a little bit as a balancing act. If you're on a tightrope and you're trying to balance on a tightrope, if you're here really bent over, now you're going to have to regain your balance by extending back upwards, or you're going to fall off the tightrope. Me being a little bit more upright with my posture here, I'm not going to struggle too much to maintain my balance on that tightrope there. So you can see, maintaining that balance through a better posture. Think of a Jack Nicklaus, think of a Sam Snead. Now I'm turning up to the top of my backswing. I can stay in good posture. So much easier for me to get a fuller turn. And then from there, I can really get that pelvis moving back. So much easier going through that golf ball. It's going to result in a better shot. So if we think, okay, pelvis tucked underneath us, really a straight lower back, then gradually curving up there. That's going to get my armpits now over balls of my feet, so I can keep my upper body on top of my lower body in my balance. Now then I just need to hit the ball, and I'm going to rotate so much better throughout my golf swing because of it. So you're going to immediately feel, for a lot of golfers there, that straight away you're going to free up some range of movement you never thought you could do. But that's because your setup was really hindering what you're doing there. So again, pelvis tucked underneath. I've got a straight lower back, curving gradually up to I've got that kind of hunched position here, but then now I can freely move up and freely get through that shot. So as we can see there, if your posture is not spot on for this, you're really going to have troubles to rotate in the backswing, get a full turn, and of course rotate in the downswing. You're going to most likely early extend in there as well. So if you get that posture in there, think of a more old school type of player like your Nicklaus, like your Sneeds, like Palmer, for example, you'll be in a much better spot to be able to rotate quite nicely. I mean, just look at Sam Snead with his posture. And you'll see him at impact. They're like this. They are incredibly back. They're open as anything going through there. They're very rotated, just because one of the key elements, their setup is so much better. So if you found this video helpful, click that like button. If you want more golf instruction just like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video. So let's get this posture better, and then we'll be able to turn and stay in our posture way easier.